Next on Inside ChampCar. First time, long time. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. With me tonight, my fearless leader. Oh, Captain, my captain.
No, I work for a living.
Bill Strong. How you doing, my friend?
Tired, man. It's been a long week.
Yeah?
Traveling. We had a race in a different time zones that really screws with your head.
Me too.
And oh, that's right. You were right next to us there at Hallett, where I'm going here in a couple of weeks.
That's right. Good weekend though. You had good weather at Ozarks.
Yep, it was not as rainy as we thought it would be, and we didn't. Lots of good stuff at Ozarks. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Absolutely. As you can see,
we got a first-time caller, long-time listener.
That's right. First time on our show, long-time ChampCar competitor, Kyle Fegley. Hello, my friend. How are you?
How you doing, Brian? How you doing, Bill?
I say my friend because I haven't met you until 5 minutes ago, but everybody who's on the show is like a member of the family, Bill.
Yes. And Kyle's been. When was your first race with ChampCar? Real quick, before we get into the other question.
2016 would have been I was a guest racer for Schumacher Taxi.
That's right.
At Summit Point, and I actually podiumed that race. That was my first podium.
Doesn't it suck, man? The first race out, any podiums.
I worked at a documentary once about a Little League World Series championship team, and it's like when you've gotten to the pinnacle of sports and you're 12.
Yeah.
How do you ever match that? And that was the whole point of the documentary, young success and what does that do to a person. But anyway, welcome. We always start the show, Kyle, with the same question, and we kind of got to the end of the question first, but that's okay. Well, order. Who needs order? How did you get involved with this crazy sport that we love?
So it's going back to, I was just talking to Bill about it. I was part of the Porsche Club. I had a 914. And I started out just doing driver's education. And I worked my way up through the run groups. Bill, they have, blue, white, red, black. And once I got to black, I became an instructor. And I started, because once you're an instructor, you can pretty much, you're racing for free at that point. Or not racing, but.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean.
You're out there, you get to drive for free as an instructor. So it was really nice. And then I did Lemons. I did one Lemons race. I built a car that was supposed to be 4 guys, and it ended up being just 2 of us. I did one race with that guy, and that was it. We just didn't see eye to eye.
Where was that race?
That was at NJMT.
Okay, all right. What year?
Same year, 2016.
Okay. I was just trying to think. Was I there that year? I was there. I did the New Jersey Motorsports Park. I did that one with Mod Squad. So that would have been, I think, 2011 or 2012 with Lemons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go back. One of my customers, Kevin, who races for Schumacher's Taxi, I was talking to him, and he says to me, he goes, hey, we're looking for a guest racer because at that point, Jerry had moved to Colorado and they only had 3 people racing. So that's when I did my first guest race. I did a guest race with them, then built a car, did a Lemons race, left him, and I went crawling back to Schumacher's Taxi and basically said, I like you guys a lot better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Schumacher Taxi at the time was running which car? Because they have a long storied history with Lemons, Champ.
Oh yeah, the Audi 80.
Yeah. Well, they went back to the Rolla because it rolled over the Corolla back at Carolina Motorsports Park.
The Rolla, I love that.
Yep, and they put wheels on the roof too, which was funny.
So
the Corolla, they had all kinds of cars.
So Kyle, where did your love of cars come from?
That would be my brother, who was a Volkswagen fanatic. You know, he had a high performance Beetle.
Wait a second. He had a what?
A Volkswagen Beetle.
But you referred to it as a high performance Beetle. What exactly is that?
Well, you know, he built the motor up. It was
Right.
it was like an 1776. It was a stroker. You know, it had Webers on it. It would break the wheels loose. It was it was quite the fun car.
We're in trouble though, Bill, because I have found that when I troll the Volkswagen Beetle community, that's when the hate mail comes.
They will hunt you down.
Yes, they will. No, I love the Volkswagens. I was a Rabbit guy. That was my foray into the Farfignugan.
Oh, MK1.
Yes.
I actually have one.
Yes. So, cool.
Yeah, I'm a second generation VW guy. Both my parents had Volkswagen. My dad had a diesel. My mom had a fastback. So it runs in the family.
Yep. Cool. Cool. So when you transitioned into ChampCar, how did that transition? I guess it was ChumpCar back then. How did that transition go?
It was great. Like I said, I did my first guest race. Then I came back to them. They're like, "Want to do another race with us?" And in fact, it was my second race was Charlotte.
Ooh.
And that's where I met you, Bill, for the very first time.
Did we wreck into each other?
I'm sorry.
Wait, was that the sprints where we did the sprint race, or was it the 14-hour?
That was the 14. You
Okay.
had car number
79.
79.
Yellow. Yep.
79. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still have it.
Yeah. You took third that race, right?
No, second. We had the lead, and we had like a 9 or 10 lap lead on everybody, and then we started losing cylinders, and I didn't know this, and I thought it was my driver, so I had him come in, and we would normally put the fastest guy in at the last lap if we're close, so I had the fastest time that weekend, so I was like, well, I'll, come on in. I hopped in. As soon as I went down pit lane, I knew it wasn't his fault. We had 4 cylinders out of 6. We had gears missing, and yeah, we tried. Then you think about it, if I had not brought him in, it would have been close, but we still would have lost because,
Was Troy racing with you then or no?
I don't know if Troy was in the car with us that race.
I remember seeing in some of the pictures that I took, but I can't remember.
Maybe.
If he was driving.
Yeah, I can't remember that race that much. I tried to block it out of my. He might have, though. He may have been racing and dropped out. I don't know, because that was about the time we both were doing pretty well. But then you're either doing really well or you're breaking. So
yeah.
But yeah, we took home some hardware, and you guys were there.
We did. We got 4th, which was good, and that was my second podium, second race.
Hey, Bill.
And that was like our 40th or 50th race by then. So it was like we were finally just starting to get hardware. These guys come out, first race out, hardware.
So
that's all.
So, Bill, next time you race, you need to put Kyle in a car.
Oh, yeah. Kyle's quick. I've raced against him. He's quick. He's smooth, man.
I'm seeing a trend here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've driven the MR2. I've driven Troy's MR2, and it's a car that wants to try to kill you.
Yes. Pretty much most of them are. Though if you watch the race this past weekend, the Cone Crusher Porsche guys were driving the not Leviathan. I forget the team name. Ben's car, his MR2. And they end up breaking a transmission and breaking some hubs as well, taking them curbs.
Yeah.
Can't do that. They're weak cars, not as strong as that Porsche. Those Porsches are pretty strong. The Boxster.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done multiple track days and a race, and we're still on the same brakes.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Are they the ones with the pads that are like an inch thick?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, we measured and we're just like, this is crazy. I mean, there's no wear detection here.
Right. That's awesome. Now you've run with Schumacher Taxi with the BMW, and then you've run with Visceral too, haven't you?
No, I never got to run with Visceral. I was in touch with him a couple times, possibly racing with him, but I never got a chance to. I talk to Ron all the time. Ron's a great guy.
Yeah,
you know, he's another Porsche fanatic. So,
oh yeah, he has the ultimate job. He gets to work for Porsche.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and then so now you went out and drank the Kool-Aid and bought a Boxster. Spent the last couple of years putting it together.
Past year and 3 months actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that an easy car to build? I mean, is it just basically off the shelf components and go race? Because it's a 475 point car.
Yes.
Like
yeah, we haven't done anything other than suspension. You know, we upgraded the springs and the struts to the Bilstein setup.
Mm-hmm.
We changed the wheels. We haven't done any aero yet, so we still have points to work with. We have to decide what we're going to do next. You know, if we're going to do aero, obviously we're going to do a wing and a splitter, right. Not just one or the other. You know what I mean? So,
right. You want that balance.
Yeah. So we've been trying to get the car as light as possible. We're looking at the roll cage was built by a guy out there in Colorado that was basically made to fit in the Boxster, and they actually test fit it in a frame even before they send it to you. So wow. It was basically plug and play, and you could tell where they actually tack welded every piece together inside their frame inside their shell before they sent it to us. It was
so all it is then you just plug A into B and weld it and done.
Yep.
Wow.
There's different things you can get, different add-ons you can get, like support members. Like we opted to go to the ones that attach to the front firewall on the lower right and left corners, the kick panel.
Right.
And then we did some extra bracing on the hoop. And but that was about it.
So how is the Boxster at allowing larger people and taller people to get in that car?
Thank you, Bill, for asking that question. It's usually me that asks that question. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that.
No, because it's a concern because I mean, any of the 2-seaters, you're either gonna, my son's 6'6" now or 6'7". He just keeps growing and he's like 22. But we have a, he can't fit in the MR2 anymore. I can't make the roof taller.
No, we're actually almost gonna possibly cut the floor out.
You like the Miatas do?
Yeah, and lower the seat down. But we got Dave Heineck in the car, and Dave Heineck. He's pretty big. He's tall. He was able to fit in it, so we're like, you know what? Let's leave it then, because I think Dave would probably be the biggest guy that we'll most likely ever have in the car. Him or Jerry. Jerry's tall, but he's a little slender.
Skinny, yeah.
And how does it handle those of us with ample girth?
Well, I don't know. We don't have the larger seat. We went with the medium seat, but you can take out the cushions, to try and make some room.
So do those, the MR2, you kind of have, you've raced them. You don't have a lot of width in the tunnel because you have that big tunnel there. Now the Spider, it's a flat floor. So you can, once you take out the console and all that stuff, there's nothing down there. So you have room for a bigger seat, and you can move things over to the right a little bit to get the driver away from the door. Can you do that in a Boxster?
No.
You have a small tunnel?
It's pretty high. I mean, it comes up about maybe 3-4 inches, but if I had my way, I would have done like a center console. Or center. You ever see a center steering setup?
Yeah, like Troy has on the Biohazard.
Yeah,
that's fun to drive.
Is it?
Yeah, it's weird when you first get in it though, because you're kind of like way in the middle of the car. It's not perfectly centered because he had to have room for the fuel cell. That sits underneath the car or down the center of the car. So, but I would say you're about you're a third over, maybe 2/3 over. I don't know, but you're not exactly in the center, but it's still fun. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of it is, most of those cars that do the center steering, they have the pedal box that they can move forward and backwards.
Yeah.
And you never have to change the balance of the car. Once the car is balanced, it doesn't matter who's in it because you're in the middle of the car.
Right.
But yeah.
So when you're deciding to build a car a year and a half ago, you've got all the choices of all the cars in all of the motorsports world. What draws you to the Boxster?
It's funny, when the day we crashed the BMW at Mid Ohio in September, we kept looking at the Salines car, and we were just like, man, the car is just, when you're out there on the track with them and you're watching them and you're watching how deep they're going into the turns, and they're braking so late, and you're just like, I mean, yeah, I know there's a lot has to do with the driver, but there are some things the car can just do and can do well.
Right.
And one of them is carry speed through the turn.
Mm-hmm.
The Boxster's not a momentum car. It's not setting the world on fire in the straightaways, but where it does excel is in the turns, for sure.
Now, how do you compare that to the Boxster to like a Toyota MR2? And I know they're, I would say 6 or 7 years apart, but more. I think the second gen MR2 is more a late 80s design. A lot of parts on it like 80s, whereas the Boxster was late 90s. That 10 years. I mean, is there a huge difference in the cars themselves?
I think so. I mean, the way the Boxster rotates, to me, is a lot more forgiving than the MR2. If you, and you know this, Bill, I mean, if you're going into a turn and you got your foot on the gas on an MR2, if you lift your foot just a tiny bit, you know what's happening.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You're saying hi to the guy behind you out the front window.
Yeah. So with the Boxster, it gives you that, the confidence. I mean, you could lift and the car will just almost like sort of like squat down and it actually will want to turn a little better because the Boxster really wants to push. And that's because they're camber challenged. And we, that's one of the things we debate on doing is possibly doing the lower control arm, spending some of the points there to get the camber better.
So what we ended up doing with the MR2 is just relocating suspension components to get that camber, re-welding chassis and stuff. Every Porsche owner I've talked to said, no, we won't do that. I don't know why.
My idea, so how the back trailing arm has those has the adjustable, it's like an eccentric type bolt. I wanted to use those up in the front and basically do the same thing with the front control arms and kick them out.
Right.
I don't know if that's legal or not.
Well, bolts and hardware are legal from, I always just use smaller diameter bolts, grade 8s and on the MR2s, and that allowed us to go out a good 1/4 of an inch, and we started out with the Mark I bolts, which are tinier, and then I just went to I got tired of trying to find those, and usually they were so used they were useless, so I just bought brand new grade 8 bolts at the hardware store and at Lowe's, and just use those, and that's what we use now, and never had a problem. So somebody hits something really, really hard, then they'll move. But
yeah, and that was my idea. Without having to spend points, is to kick that lower control arm out just a little bit.
Right.
Using using the eccentric bolt up front.
Because you're not looking for a ton of degrees, right? Just 1 or 2 degrees.
Yeah. Right now we might have 2 degrees. Camber.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you want more than that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we run like 4.5, 5. Well, it depends on the racetrack we're going to too, but about 4 on the MR2, and then we can actually the way we've re-welded everything, we basically drop the struts about 2.5 inches, the tops of them, so we could fit those 265 tires on the car, which they were never designed to go on the front. And Oh, it was huge. It was a big difference. But because when we did that, that allowed us to get almost 10 degrees of camber if we really wanted to. And when we did not want to, the first time we went racing, I couldn't get those bolts tight enough, and somebody hit a curb, and we basically rubbed the wheel on the strut the whole race.
Yeah. Now, like I said, with so far one race, I think we came in 9th on day 2 at VIR North.
That's still pretty darn good, man. I mean, top 10 for the first race.
Yeah, and I actually had to come in because there was some contact, and I felt like something might have happened on the back end. So I took a quick spin down pit lane to stop in and check. Well, we may have gotten maybe 8th if I hadn't had to come in, but yeah, it was pretty exciting. I mean, the first day was all rain. Everyone,
Yeah, I was I spun the first lap. Not even the first lap. Yeah, that's Troy's fault.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were right there at the top of the carousel, right?
I thought I caused the yellow flag. I'm sitting there backwards. I'm thinking, oh God, I'm the cause of this. The yellow flag comes out, not knowing that a guy had wadded up his car over at 4, and a couple others had gone off track, and mine was not even as bad as all those others. So
that was an ugly day.
Yeah, I think they had put, because they had some drifting there. I think they'd put something on the track because it was just really greasy. I'd never been on that track that greasy, and that's my local track. So, but hey, as an endurance racer, we have to be able to adapt to any and all conditions. So I failed.
Well, and all the competitors are on the same racetrack dealing with the same stuff. So,
they had new tires. We had old tires. So yes, we're all.
Sorry, Uncle Brian talking.
Not going to blame Troy for that, but yes, I'm blaming Troy for that. Yeah.
All right.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian.
No, I was just going to ask, what's up next for you guys? Where are you taking the Boxster next?
I was just telling Bill our next race is going to be AER. That's due to schedule conflicts with some of the guys.
Racing at Summit Point.
Race.
Yeah, Summit.
Yeah, Summit.
I cannot wait to go back to Summit. I really hope that Dana can get us back to Summit one of these days. I want to get on because that's another local track of mine, and you guys are running on the Summit Full, right?
Yes.
Because in the past we've run there, but we've always run at Shenandoah, which is an outstanding track, but it just tears cars up.
It does.
And yeah, it's a really rough course, whereas Summit Full is such a good little track and fast. Hell, Trans Am used to race there back in the day. Willie T won a couple of races there.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, but Brian, our next ChampCar race looks like it's going to be Thompson.
Another great little track.
Yeah.
What do you like about Thompson?
Yeah, go ahead.
This will actually be my first time doing Thompson.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've done it on iRacing.
Oh, it's much better in life. Yeah. I haven't raced it. I've done the pace car, and I've done my own car around there, chasing cameras, and it is a fun, interesting track, and it goes into night. So you like night racing, Thompson's a great track to go to.
Oh, is that a one-day race?
Yeah, the 12-hour. Yep.
Okay. Cool. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, hey, that's
good.
We
can't race there on Sunday, or there has to be some because there's
a church
nearby and some other stuff. I don't know if we can race there on Sundays, but they have serious noise limitations. So since you have a Boxster, you're gonna have to keep that thing quiet. So
yeah, we actually have two full-blown mufflers, unlike most of those guys just have resonators, I guess.
If that.
Yeah. No, if you hear ours is relatively quiet.
Right. I think you asked me that at VIR. I think you asked me that. Can you hear my car? It's like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. The other Boxster at, I won't say whose it is, but at Mid-Ohio, or is it Road America. And everybody knows where the sound house is there because I will always test sound at the SCCA sound house. So I'm standing there, I'm setting up, and they're like, "Whoa," coming through the corner. "Whoa." And I sit there and I get my pad of paper out and I'm standing there like, and it's like, oh, they know I'm here. They just let off the gas and they'll wait till they're out of sight. Then, you know.
Atlanta Speed Works, I know.
No.
It wasn't Atlanta? Oh.
No. I almost sang the wrong hot dog song. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
They know.
That was my next guess.
Yeah. The smart guys.
Yeah.
All right.
No, they're good.
Bill, anything else for Kyle before we let him go?
So you're going to be racing with us in Thompson. You got a Boxster. It's a really cool car. It doesn't spin.
Didn't you want to hear a trailer story or a
yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, and I want to thank you for your service, U.S. Coast Guard veteran and a telecom guy, right?
Yeah, telecommunications specialist. You know, we've had 3 different names. We were radiomen, telecommunications specialist, and now they call us operations specialist. Yeah.
Are you still in?
No.
Okay.
No,
so tell us about Trailer Story.
So I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, we had left AMP. And you know us, there's 4 of us, so we take, turns, 2 hours each shot. So we pull into a gas station to get gas, and it's my turn to drive. So as we're pulling out, as I come up to the exit to turn left, and there's a sign there, obviously says, no left turn out of here. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to turn right. I'm going to go down this street and find a place to turn around. So I turn right, and I'm going down, and I'm looking at this Garmin. Now, keep in mind, this Garmin that we have in the RV, it's an older style, and I don't know when it was last updated. It's fine out on the highway, but the back streets, not so much. So I'm just looking at the GPS, and I'm like, it looks like the GPS is taking us back towards 95 this way, right? So I just keep going, and I keep going, and I keep driving. And then all of a sudden, the road is getting narrow, and there's woods on both sides of us.
Oh, boy.
And I'm traveling for a good 2, 3, 4 miles down this road, and all of a sudden, it dead ends. Oh. I'm not lying. It dead ends. Now, picture this is a road that you're not going to be able to get 2 cars down it.
Oh.
And there's woods on both sides.
Is it nighttime?
Yes.
Oh, even worse.
And so,
let me tell you.
Before you go on, what's the trailer truck setup? Is it a pickup, and how long's the trailer?
So, it's an RV. The RV's about, I don't know, what do you think our RV is built?
It's a big RV. Yeah,
35 feet.
Yeah,
okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
The trailer's what? Standard, not enclosed at the
30
time.
foot.
We had the open.
18, 24 foot. Yeah, something like that.
All right, continue.
Yeah. So you got the picture. Now, picture the blackest thing you can imagine, right? Double that. Take a black magic marker, fill in all the gaps, put that on a black rocket ship, and send it to the depths of outer space. Close your eyes
and put it in a black hole. Yeah.
So it's like trying to land an F-14 on a carrier at night.
Yeah. That is how dark it was. And
wow.
I am not lying when I tell you. So I'm not real good at backing trailers because all those John or Dave and Kevin, they both own trailers. So they're the best at backing the trailer. Because they're used to backing their boats and whatnot. So even with the light, we're going to have to back this thing up for the next 4 miles. 4 miles.
Oh, shit.
We're like, okay. So we do about a quarter of a mile, and we're like, we're going to be here till morning. We're going so slow because you can't see.
No. How many times did you have to go back forward to straighten it up?
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah. You go 10 feet, go forward 5 feet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like. So finally, we get to a spot where there's like a break in the woods. We're like, we think we can back the trailer into this space in the woods and be able to turn the RV around. Keep in mind, we're trying to do this and not drop a wheel on the RV.
Oh, right.
Because you know, it's so narrow that we're trying to K-turn this thing in. It was nuts. So in an effort, so we're using radios. You know, I'm watching the one corner of the RV. John's on the other side. Kevin's driving, and we're radioing saying, "Turn left, turn right." Just stop. You know, because we don't want to pinch the box against the RV while we're trying to back it in, but at the same time not drop a wheel. Well, something had to give, and we ended up pinching the job box on the trailer, crushed the whole inside corner. We just, I guess there was a delay in the radio, either that or he didn't hear us on the radio. But I mean, long story short, we were able to get the trailer backed into the woods and eventually get the RV turned around. But my God, it added about an hour and a half onto the trip.
Wow.
Those are the worst ones.
It was scary. I mean, and look, it was all my fault. I mean, I'm just looking at the GPS and I'm like, yeah, it's taking us back. We're good. No.
The shoot, you know, you're associated with Schumacher Taxi. They have the absolute best stories when it comes to anything racing. Mainly goes back to the early days of Schumacher Taxi when they picked up that MR2 and just that. I'll have to read that story sometime. It's on the web. What's his name? Not Jay. Rob. Rob has a hell of a story he put up on the web telling how they were able to get that supercharged MR2 for like nothing. And then the time that we were all going down to CMP, it was the second race we did at CMP with Lemons, or the following year.
Yeah.
And we stopped at a gas. We were all traveling down together, a whole bunch of us in a group. And we stopped at one exit down the road. If we had stopped at the one up the road, we would have got gas for like 10 cents a gallon. And they were filling everything they could up with gas. Everything. Somebody screwed up. It was like at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, these guys just always had the best luck for everything. It was crazy.
Jerry on the show.
Yeah.
Ask him about going through the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know the story or not, but if you ever have him on, I'll let him.
I'll get Jerry on.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. That's another good trailer story.
We lost your sound there. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, something happened with your sound, Kyle.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right, Kyle. That's okay.
We're about to wrap up anyway, so great story. We got to ask more of those stories. Those are the most entertaining. I love it. Hey, Kyle, thanks Kyle. A lot. Good luck on whatever you got coming up next. And when you get to Thompson, enjoy that place.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right. So, Bill, let's do this. Let's get to our winner circle from Ozarks, right? Anything we should know about that?
Hell of a weekend, man. It was great weather. We had a great race. 2 days of racing. Everybody that was going to win, guess what?
They won.
They didn't. No, they didn't. We thought that one team was going to win because they had a pretty good lead. Then they made a mistake, and you'll hear about it. And then another team was going to win, and they made a mistake, and you'll hear about that. Then a team that was just found themselves there, and then which was 901 Motorsports. And then the following day, basically the same things happened. And again, 901 Motorsports found themselves in the lead when they shouldn't have won those races. But actually Saturday, I shouldn't say that. Sunday, they had a pretty darn good lead and stayed on to it. So, all right, let's go for it.
All right, here we go. Here's the winners from Ozarks.
Oh, wait.
Yes?
Just want to let you guys know, I'm sorry about the sound, but our staff decided they wanted to do the impound in the garage. And if you've ever been there, the garage is an echo chamber, and The sound is really bad, and I'm really sorry about that.
All right, well, we'll make it work. No worries at all.
Yeah.
Here it comes, the winners and the happy people at Ozarks. Here we go.
I don't see it playing.
Well, it's playing. Oh.
It hasn't gone across. Even the folks out there are saying, there we go.
But I'm not getting audio for some reason. Yeah, I'm having issues with the audio, Bill, and I apologize.
Well.
All right, well.
Let's start it over again.
Well, starting it over, I don't think it's going to help us, but we can start it over.
Well, if not, I'll throw it up on YouTube, and like I always do, as a separate entity.
Are you racing next weekend?
No.
Well, we can play them next week. How's that?
Okay, yeah.
I will figure it out, and we will play it next week.
All right.
Sorry about that.
like you guys noticed last weekend, we're using some new software, and it still needs, we still need to learn how to use it.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's all right. No worries. It's basically like ChampCar Live was like 10 years ago.
Oh, boy.
All right. So let's talk about, we can still talk about the race.
Yes, absolutely.
Here. I was going to get that done during the thingy here.
During the 15 minutes worth of post-race sound we were about to play.
Hold on a second. Let me get here my laps. Okay, so race started out pretty well. We kind of go by experience at the track. How many yellows and stuff are we going to get? How many incidences are we going to have? And I did the race log, and we did not have that very many. We didn't have that many incidences, and I was kind of blown away Saturday because there was hardly any yellow. I mean, any passing under yellows. No,
wow.
I mean, it's stuff you don't say in a tower. Like, oh, we haven't had a passing under yellow in a while. And then all of a sudden you get like 10 of them,
It's like when you're in the newsroom, there's two words you don't say, the Q word and the S word.
Exactly. Same thing. And you just don't say these words because then you have to put $20 into the jar. And I think I said something, and Chelsea got really angry with me and wanted me to put $20 in the jar. I forget what it was, but it was.
Must have been good if it was $20 in the jar.
Yeah, it was a funny on my end. She didn't think it was very funny. But yeah. So Saturday started out pretty well. The logs are up on the web if you want to look those over to see what people were dinged for. But it wasn't that many log entries. I want to say like 40 or 50. And whereas Daytona we had 500 or something. It was insane.
Wow.
So 901 Motorsports wins that race. I don't know I forgot to ask what the PBMRP stands for.
Peanut
might have been a
butter.
maybe or
PBRB SASAP,
or maybe a sponsor or something.
Okay.
So Touchstone Racing finished second with their Miata. Lots of Miatas in this race when you thought all the V8s were going to just totally beat this thing. Autospec and their Miata finished third. Love Racing, they had the lead up until the very end, and they got the car stuck in the runoff. Williams Racing Group took fifth. Open Throttle Racing and their Ready car took sixth. Minimum Talent and their Mini Cooper. Spent a lot of time going in and out of the pit lane Sunday, but they did all right on Saturday, seventh place. Looney Tunes Mustang, they actually had the lead for a little bit until they made a mistake and dropped down to 7th place or 8th place. And Hill House Racing and their BMW finished 9th, and Silver Martini Racing took 10th. And that's the top 10. We had 25 cars start the race that were classed. And Saturday, we had a couple of EC cars as well. I think 27 total. The Gulp Racing 2008 Honda S2000, they took first in EC class against the Killer Bossa Racing 2 or Nissan 350Z, which I thought was a pretty darn fast car. That was a pretty cool looking car, the Killer Bossa car. And the Gulp Racing, I always think it's a different car than it really is. To me, it always looked like something else. I think it has a fastback. Okay. Plus, the color looks really good. Gulf Racing colors. And they did well. Who did not do well, who everybody said the car would just dominate this race, was Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they ended up finishing mid-pack, 13th place with their Chevy Corvette, but they ended up having a slave cylinder go bad, something really odd on the Chevy, and never had one go bad before, and it was brand new, and just cost them the race. They had a pretty good lead, not a real good lead, but they had a lead. And then what was really sad was Tim Elliott's Two Idiots in a Garage, Sheboygan Auto Helpers, and his 84 Volkswagen Rabbit finished 25th. He ended up just making a simple mistake, came in a little too hot at one corner, and just trying to push it a little bit, and end up putting it into the wall. It crunched the nose up pretty good, but it's nothing that can't be pounded out and some new sheet metal put on or whatever he's going to do, but he'll have that thing racing soon.
Cool.
Cone Crushers in their MR2, they ended up leading for a bit. They ended up toasting a transmission. See, Porsche drivers, you put them in these little, mid-engine cars, not designed for what we were doing with it, and boom, toasted that car. But Good, Bad, and the Ugly had FTD for the weekend at 244. I think the EC car might have been a little faster. Let me look here real quick. They were about the same, 245 and a 244. And then Sunday, again, perfect weather. We start out, now we had a few more entries. I think guys got used to the track, so they're starting to make a little more, they were being a little more aggressive on track. A lot of 4-offs, a lot of spins. Guys still learning the course, but we had a lot more entries. It was a little more busy Saturday or Sunday. 901 Motorsports again found themselves outside of it about halfway, and they slowly worked their way up, and boom, they found themselves in the lead and kind of held it. And Looney Tunes, they did pretty well as well. They finished second with their Mustang. Silver, they had to make an extra stop too, so that kind of hurt them. But Silver Martini Racing and their Mazda Miata finished third. Love Racing, again, those guys were up in the lead, and at the end of the race, they had I think he put it into the, I forget what, they had an incident. We'll hear it next week's setup, but they had another incident, and they ended up coming into they had a bad time. He lost control of the car, went into the sand. They had to pull him out, and he was able to go back to the pit lane, and they're still in third, or they're in third now. And Silver Martini Racing made a pass on him as they went around, trying to get around the track slow. He got it back into the pit lane. Now their pit lane they were pitted right before the break where the the pit lane loop is.
Okay.
To get your laps. And so they were smart enough to push the car forward over the loop and then start changing their tire. That kept them on the same lap as Open Throttle Racing, and then the flag dropped, and Open Throttle was not able to get that spot. So, that was Open Throttle finishing 5th, Williams Racing Group in 6th, Chipbox Racing in 7th, GTR Racing in 8th, and Fox Shoddy Racing and their Ford Mustang in 9th. They did pretty well Sunday. Hill House Racing and their BMW in 10th. And again, we had how many cars start that race? We had 23 cars start that race. fastest car of the day was the Good, Bad, and the Ugly Chevy Corvette with a 243. They started a lap down. They had some parts on their car to make it better, I guess.
Sure.
And so they started a lap down, and they made it back up. They were in the lead for a bit, and then the rear end went out on the car.
Yeah.
So it's another rare incident that happens on that. Something totally different than what's happened to him in the past. So
you said that there's a whole lot more on your log at Daytona, right?
Oh, yeah.
So would you say that there was about a quarter of the log entries at Ozarks?
No, it was
even
way
less.
Different. Yeah, Daytona had a lot more passing under yellows.
Well, I was going to say you had 4 times as many cars, so that would make for 4 times as many log entries.
Possibly, but no. This one was just they were. I don't want to say that maybe the East is a little more aggressive and
okay.
Don't know.
I was just thinking
we talked about that was one of the things we kind of quietly talked about. Is like, do you think maybe they're more aggressive, or maybe they're just being a lot more careful because guys saw what happened last year at this track, so they were hanging back a bit, paying more attention.
Right.
The Flagtronics works really good. Remember, you've got a lot of elevation changes at this track.
Right.
A lot of blind spots. Blind spots I didn't even realize until I went out there in my MR2 Spider.
Sure.
In my Ram the year before, it's like, this is pretty wild. But in my Spider, holy cow, this is crazy, this track.
Maybe it's that there's more
line of sight is like nil.
More panache with doing well at Daytona than there is at doing well at Ozarks, and people get that Daytona mist.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that could be it. Maybe.
Just a thought.
And there's a lot of things, but whatever I say, there's going to be people out there who's going to get mad at me for saying it or whatever. But the skill quality of the drivers at this track this past weekend was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So I don't say it was probably the same at Daytona. No.
Well, you might get some people going to Daytona because it's a bucket list track who might not race as much, but they want to get Daytona and check it off the list.
Yeah. I mean,
so
I get it. That. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
As long as you don't get hurt
right.
or you hurt somebody
or hurt
else.
someone else. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But and it's we didn't have that many passing under yellows. Actually, I don't think we did. Maybe at all the whole weekend. Though there may have there was one, and that was our fault. And we had posted that. I think we said it on the show. There was a light. We made a mistake. So, yeah, that was our fault. Teams got caught off guard, and we ended up learning how to do the lights a certain way at that track. Because if we didn't, they're coming down that front straightaway, balls out, and, you just, all of a sudden there's a yellow. It's like, and,
it's. I think people respect it when a series goes, you know what, we got that one wrong, and it's our fault, and, we've learned, and
well, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't blame it on Visceral because he wasn't there. Kidding.
But they could blame it on you. So they could blame it on you.
No, because I'm not running the race. But
they'll find a way to blame it on Bill, right? It's always Bill's fault.
As I tell the people I work with, just blame me.
I love it.
There's no reason not to.
That's good stuff. All right, what's up next? What's up now? What's the next one?
So, I was looking at flying out to Hallett. I think I'm just going to drive out to Hallett. It's going to save us some money. The plane trips out of here to Hallett or just to Tulsa are insane.
Did you check Oklahoma City?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's still expensive as hell. I mean, it's just not worth it. It's, I'll take a couple of days and drive out and say, do it for half the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we're going to Hallett, which you just got done. You just got done with this past weekend with the SCCA.
I loved it. What a
it's awesome.
great
You had
little
never been
race.
there, right?
I'd never been there.
Oh,
and you want to talk about the elevation change? I don't know if it's commensurate to what you had at Ozarks, but it is up and down.
It's not even close.
And,
not even close to Ozarks.
It is. If anybody's ever been to Blackhawk Farms, it's like Blackhawk Farms with a bunch of elevation change.
Okay.
It's got that same club feel to it.
Yeah.
The facilities are not fancy, but they're kept up well.
Oh yeah.
And
the people there are just awesome. I love the track managers.
And as I said on our stream, I said, if there are track cafe owners around the country who want to know how to do a cafe properly, go spend a day at Hallett and eat the stuff from their cafe. I got a breakfast sandwich that's still stuck to my ribs.
It's so good.
Oh,
yeah.
it is
They
amazing.
have some really good food there.
Yep.
They rank up there with track food with, I would say, with Road America.
And I don't know if they'll do it for your event, but we had a barbecue truck outside too.
Oh, wow. Nah, we don't do that because we just eat at the inside.
Yeah.
And they have a track photographer there that takes some great video and pictures, and then and he pre-sells his stuff too.
Yep.
So we have the links up in our subs for that. They have a great little swag shop with anything and everything you could ever use for swag. It's there.
Yep.
The tower's pretty nice up there. It's basic, but it's everything you need.
Do they do the chicken song for you?
Yes, they do the chicken song.
That is the oddest thing in the world.
Pretty awesome, isn't it? And we don't want to give it away because you have to go to Hallett to experience the chicken dance.
I will wait until you guys get done at Hallett to post it because I recorded it.
Oh yeah.
I recorded a little video going, "This is how I woke up this morning," but I haven't posted it yet. I will wait until you guys are done at Hallett and then I'll post it.
Okay.
So I don't ruin it for anybody.
It's a great little track. Like I said, the track itself is kind of cool. Now, last year was the first year that they had the tunnel because we used to have to stop the race to let people go in and out of the track.
Right. So there is construction on the highway leading into to Hallett. You can't get off at the normal exit that you would get off of to go to the racetrack.
At the toll booth?
Yes.
That's where
that exit's all closed.
Oh.
Yes. So check with track management. They had a form that we put with our subs that had two different detours. And you'd have to go up through Cleveland and then come back around. It adds about 10 minutes. If you're coming from Tulsa, if you're coming from Oklahoma City, at the moment, it's fine. I don't know if they're going to flip it. But I would double-check with track management about the detour and make sure if that's still going on because if you don't take the detour and you get to the exit, you've got to go 10 miles further down and then come back. So check
and
with them.
there's a toll there. We pay a toll to go like 10 feet.
Uh-huh. Well, you don't have to pay the toll if you take the detour.
Okay. All right.
The detour. I think it's only $1 toll, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
something like that. But it just adds up, throughout the all the tolls I have to pay through the year. All right. So
anyway,
toll booth may be closed.
Yeah, the exit may be closed.
Chelsea, if you're listening, which you're probably not. She's one of these. She's over 30 now, so she's going to sleep at like 9 now.
Oh.
She's
Come
not
on.
the party animal she used to be.
Yeah, okay, old man.
She keeps telling me that, but I doubt
Okay,
that.
boomer. Okay, boomer. All right.
So we're at we are there at Hallett, and then we're getting ready. What did we do? Oh yeah, today's the last day for the early pay for I believe CMP. Let me make sure. April 25th is the last day for the $200 off on Carolina Motorsports Park. Full course at Kershaw, South Carolina, Carolina Grand Prix. Right now, it's currently, as of now, until midnight, it is $1,300 into that race. So get over there, get entered. Right now, we're up to 25 teams, and we'll probably have a ton more sign up. Then Sebring is coming up. That's the next one. May 2nd is the early cutoff for that one. Save $200 on that. That'll be $1,475 for that race. The Senator 14-hour at Sebring, presented by UUC Motorworks. And when we get closer, we'll explain the Senator part.
Okay.
And then, of course, MSR Houston, Space City Grand Prix. Did the artwork for that decal today. And, got that done.
Nice.
And, then Nelson right after that. So, folks, get signed up. We have Hallett in a couple of weeks, in a month. And then Watkins Glen a week later. And then we head off to Autobahn Country Club. That one, we're expecting a few more people to sign up. We're around 30 on that one, which is about what we had last year.
Sure.
And then to Carolina.
Great.
So lots going on. Late spring, early summer, here with ChampCar Endurance Series.
All right.
And as always, if you need any information, please email info@champcar.org. Any complaints about me, please send that to trash@champcar.org.
You really shouldn't consider yourself trash, Bill.
Well,
You've got a self-confidence problem, my friend.
Now, media at ChampCar.org if you got any complaints or pluses about the things that we're doing here at ChampCar, media-wise.
Sounds good.
And if you want Summit Point, info at ChampCar.org.
All right.
I email them all the time. I use my alias.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel so you won't miss any episodes. It is the Racing Wire Podcast Network and ChampCar Live on YouTube. It'd also be great if you'd share it on your social media channels, comment on the ChampCar Facebook page. For Bill Strong, I'm Brian Bielanski. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend and week, and go play with cars.